I have a babysitter. I'm so excited. I'm getting some reselling work done. One of the things I wanted to do was film a couple videos. And this one is going to be me sharing some items. I think it's 10 items that haven't sold for me in quite some time. And I just wanted to, I did this video once before. I wanted to do this video again because I think it's really interesting to basically relook at comps, look at photos, look at, is it listed correctly, see maybe why it's not selling and make some adjustments to hopefully get them to sell. Also, I'm either using a green screen or you are seeing the back of the garage. And the reason is because I have a babysitter, AKA one of my sisters came to visit for a couple days to help me out. And also it was Robert's birthday and I wanted to go to dinner with him without our baby. And so I thought it would be good for my sister to hang out with my daughter. Weird to say my daughter. I don't know why that's weird, but I don't think I've actually ever said that. I have a daughter. It's weird. Anyways, so she's been here for a couple days and it's been a huge help. And if I'm in the house, then I'm going to hear the baby. Whereas if I'm out in the garage, I don't hear the baby and I get more work done. So all of that said, let's just jump right in. That was a long intro to the very first item. So this first one was only listed for 7 months. And I remember being pregnant, finding these while I was thrifting. And I definitely hadn't shared on social media that I was pregnant at the time, but I was. And I was kind of trying to find items that were, you know, like be a little bit more picky. I wasn't trying to get too many items this day. And I found these items by Jessie Cam, which is a brand I've sold twice before. I think I've sold it twice before. Once was a pair of shorts one time and they sold very quickly for like, I don't know, $100 to $150, which is very high in my opinion for a pair of shorts. And then the other one was a pair of pants, I believe, and those sold pretty quickly. Anyways, I saw these overalls in kind of a rust color and I was so excited. Now they were an extra small, but hey, like I know this brand, it's done well for me in the past. I rarely find it. Let's get her done. I don't know, whatever. So I listed them high. Now, mind you, when I tell you how I listed things, I check comps 100% of the time before I list an item. And so I must have seen some comps that were $300 to $350 in order for me to list it at $350. And I listed at $349. And there was, I think, a little bit of interest initially, like with likers, and I think maybe I got a question one time, but no offers on it, and it sat. And it sat until now, 7 months later. So there's currently 13 likers on Poshmark. I'm pretty confident I've relisted it at least once on Poshmark. I don't relist as often as I should, partly because I've been busy. But there's currently 13 likers. There is one that is listed for $449 and it's new with tag, same item, same size. There's another of the same item, same size listed for $333. So just under my pricing. And that one was not new with tags. There's another item that's a size small, so just a size bigger, but probably kind of similar people could fit into it. And that's listed at $280. And some recent comps in different colors, so these are sold comps, were ranging from $125 to $275. Moral of the story is I'm priced too high, point blank. Now, there's different pricing strategies out there on Poshmark, on eBay, and I've been pretty transparent over the years of how I price. I typically will price my item at the highest comp, assuming that comp isn't an outlier. So if every item has sold for $30 and then there's one that sold for $100 and it's the exact same item, I'm probably going to sell it closer to the $30 mark and assume that $100 price point was an outlier, not consistent. Now, when you're selling a brand like Jessie Cam, not a common brand, not as many on the market, comps can be pretty easy because it's like you find the same exact item, maybe even the same color, maybe even the same size. And it's like, okay, it's really narrowed down in who's buying this. So the fact that there's some people, one specifically exactly like mine that's listed lower, $333, and then there's one that's just a size bigger but still same color and probably similar people could wear it, priced at $280, and those haven't sold. and the highest comp I could find of similar colors but same item was $275, I'm going to bring my price down to $275. That will bring it lower than the current active listings that are similar or exact same, and still have some room to get some offers. All right, item number 2. All Saints leather jacket. Now this is, I believe, a lamb leather, has lamb leather components, but it also has some, I think it was a wool or wool blend components as well. I should be having photos posted somewhere to show you the item. Now this one has kind of a draped front. It has a belt. This one has been listed for 15 months, so almost a year and a half or a little over a year. I originally started it and listed it at $349, and it is currently priced at $279. So I occasionally do price drops, and this has gotten a couple of those. It currently has 3 likes on Poshmark, so not a huge audience. This is a size 8, so I don't think that's a terrible size. I mean, that's, you know, not super small, not, you know. And also because it's a jacket, like I think I was able to snugly get it on, and I'm not a size 8. So I think it could maybe even go up to a size 10 for someone. But I did get multiple offers on this in the first month of it being listed. And this is always where it gets into like bummer territory, is when you go back into your history and you have an item that hasn't sold in a while, and you have to start reflecting on if you're going to drop the price and how low do you want to go. And you maybe see an offer that you denied or you countered at one point. That's an offer that you would accept today. And some people, some resellers I've heard over the years will talk about that for them, they will always take the first offer, first decent offer. I've never had that perspective. But you know, I did get an offer somewhere, a number of offers between 100 and 175, and I countered all of them, and none of them took my counters. I want to say my counter was like 250 or 225 or something around there, a couple times. So, you know, is it worth having it sit that long for an extra 25, 50 bucks? I don't know. But currently it's listed at 279, and I looked at some of the current active listings. There's one that's a size 2 in the US that's listed at $126. There's one that's in the UK on eBay that's listed at $192. There's some listed on Poshmark from $120 to $418, various sizes, but the same exact jacket. And some recent solds on Poshmark were between $110 to $310. So again, $310, they could have been part of a bundle, and maybe they bought a couple other items, and maybe they actually got it for $250. So that's kind of the downside of comps with Poshmark, in my opinion, is you don't actually know what the sold price was when looking up comps. But a lot of them, you know, seem to be around that 200, like 150 to 200 mark. One sold on eBay auction for $20, $20.50. And that was 14 bids on eBay auction. So they got a great deal, in my opinion. And I can't remember what size that was. But moral of this story is, once again, you'll probably see a theme here. I'm priced a little too high, and that's okay. Comps change, demand changes, seasons change. And some would argue, well, this is a jacket. It's not going to sell in summer. Wait until the winter. I've already gone through 2 winters with this, and it hasn't sold. So in my perspective, if I want it to sell in the next few months, maybe for fall, winter of this year, I want to bring it down to be competitive. So in this situation, I'm going to bring down the price to $199 to be competitive. There is someone that has this exact item, same size, I think, listed for $175, but that seller is no longer active. The last share, they haven't shared this item since last March, I think. No, I think it was March of this year. So anyways, that's what I'm going to do with that one, which is a pretty substantial drop considering I started at 350, bringing it down to 200. But again, you know, this is partly just reselling, in my opinion. Okay, I have 8 more items to deep dive in and share with you. But before I do that, I did want to mention the sponsor of today's video, which is Upside. You guys know I love this free app. I get cash back on everyday purchases like gas, like eating out, and even some grocery stores. You've heard me tell you about it before, but I'm going to tell you some details of why I love it here as well. So I'm still using Upside every single week, even though I'm not thrifting at the moment, mainly to get gas in my small town. The very first step I need to do is claim an offer on the app. So I'm just pulling up that app to show you how easy it is to claim an offer. Usually if I'm in LA, I choose from multiple options and choose kind of the best price. In my small town, there's one gas station that I can use. So I'm going to claim that offer and head that direction. And at that point, everything is kind of normal of just filling your tank like you normally would. You've already claimed the offer. Your card is connected to the app that you're going to use at the gas station, and you pump as normal. So it is a breezy day in Tehachapi, but I'm just going to wait for my tank to fill up. I was almost on E, so I definitely needed a lot of gas. And even though I'm not driving as much right now, I still do need to go take the little one to doctor's appointments. And at some point I will thrift again. And of course I'll share that on this channel. But some of the things that I love about Upside that you've heard me talk about, there are over 100,000 gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants on the Upside app. And that means getting cash back is always just right around the corner. And yes, it's real cash back. There's no confusing rewards, points, or credits. It's just actual money that you can transfer straight to your bank account. And honestly, it's so easy. People can earn 3 times more cash back with Upside than any other product. And this includes loyalty programs and credit card rewards. So $1 million in cash back is being earned by users every week. And I am just a small fraction of that. But again, I love using Upside. I have for the last couple years, and I will continue to use them as long as they're around because it's just so easy. Top Upside earners are making as much as $300 a month. To find out how much you could earn, click the link in the description to download Upside and use code COMMONTAGS to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. Or scan the QR code here to claim this offer. So I'm finishing up, filling up my tank, and I need to get back home to relieve the babysitter. But I did just want to say a big thank you to Upside for sponsoring another video. I love them. I love eating out and getting cash back. I love getting gas and getting cash back. And I know you guys will too. So I definitely think you need to try out this free app to get cash back as well. So let's get back to the 10 items that are possibly overpriced. Okay, jumping back to number 3, item number 3. Never sold this brand. Should have been smarter with this one, but honestly, sometimes I'm moving quick with listing. And this was a pair of men's jeans by the brand Fear of God. And I can't remember who was the rapper or artist that wore them a lot, or there were a number. I think maybe Justin Bieber did. I think maybe Kanye did. There were a number of guys who wore this brand, and it went crazy as far as popularity. The reason I said I made a mistake was because I picked this up. It's been listed for 2 years. And in the last couple of years, skinny jeans have not been the most trendy. Are there people still wearing skinnies? Yes. Do I judge? No. If you want to wear skinnies, great. I still wear skinnies occasionally. But the amount of people wearing skinnies has definitely gone down. And specifically, I think with men. So I originally had these listed at $299. I currently have them listed at $219, and there's only one liker on Poshmark. So here's some reasons why I think they haven't sold. One, skinny jean that style is kind of outdated. Now, some people say it's coming back, and it always goes in cycles, but currently the styles of Fear of God that are selling for top dollar are not skinnies. So with this audience, it doesn't seem to be in trend, like the trend right now. There could also be authenticity concerns. So anytime you're dealing with certain brands that are duped or faked, some people might be less inclined to buy on the pre-owned market unless there's some sort of guarantee. Now, I never say something's authentic. I see those in listings all the time, and I always wonder, why is this person saying it's authentic? Now, maybe I have seen a couple times, someone upload a receipt and they bought it retail and they had it in their own personal closet, and you can clearly see they're not resellers. But I see resellers all the time going genuine and authentic, and I'm like, that's supposed to give me confidence with no proof. Anyways, I never say anything about it. I do a pretty decent job when I buy something that has been faked or duped to try and compare to listings that have sold for top dollar. And there is an authentication service that I have used in the past that for certain items I will pay to get that authentication. But yeah, there might be some concerns for people of buying that brand from a reseller. It's also a smaller size. This is a size 29 for men's, which there's plenty of men out there that wear that size, but because it's a skinny style, it probably is a fairly tight pair of jeans. So it's a narrower audience. Some of these are listed between $100 to $450. So I don't think being listed at $219 is outrageous. But there are solds all over the place. Recent solds are between $40 and $2,000. The higher priced ones are currently the more trendy styles, looser fitting, kind of barrel jean styles, some of that. And you can just tell they've got stock photos. They are just what I would see in a magazine today as far as the trends, like urban trends. So clearly I'm going to say, because this hasn't sold in 2 years, usually the culprit is I'm priced too high. So I'm going to bring down the price to $149 and relist. Now, I have learned that sometimes when you price certain things too low, it can give buyers the impression that maybe you are selling a fake or a dupe, and that's why it's priced so low. So I don't want to go too low. I don't want to get desperate with any of this stuff, but I do think bringing it down to $149, just right at that $150 mark. If I were to get an offer for $100, I think it'd be a great deal for them. I'd be happy with it. I didn't pay up for any of these items. Most of these items I just got, somewhere between $5 and $10. So that's what I'm going to do. Bring it down to $149 and relist. All right, number 4 is an Isabella Barant jacket. So this one has been listed for 2 years. It's a size 4, so it's a smaller size. I listed it originally at $249. And it's currently sitting at $183 as far as what I have it listed for. I have 2 likers, and moral of the story, it hasn't sold. I'm pretty confident, because I remember finding this jacket and I remember looking up comps. I'm pretty confident that I found a couple comps right around that 250 mark. But maybe, again, they didn't actually sell for that price on Poshmark. Maybe they had sold for more. And who knows if I found some comps on eBay as well. But this is interesting. I don't have this jacket listed on eBay. So I cross-post all of my listings. And eBay is typically where I will sell slightly more. And it's not listed there. And I don't know if I ever listed it. So that's interesting, because these days I list on eBay first and then cross-list over to Poshmark. But maybe 2 years ago I was still listing on Poshmark first and then just never uploaded it to eBay. So that's a reason it's only listed on half of my platforms. I'm not using a stock photo. I did find one that someone is using in their listing. And if I do pick a stock photo, I typically put it as a second photo, so not the main photo, which can hurt me from getting sales. And I have known that for the whole 6 years I've been reselling, but it's my choice to not use stock photos as my main photo. But this is a white jacket, or like an off-white jacket, and it's a white background. And I'm sure there's people who love editing photos. I do not. If it's not quick and easy, I hate it. But I do like white backgrounds. I like consistency on my listings. So it just doesn't look great. The white on white, the contrast isn't there. It doesn't stand out. So one is listed at $109 and it's a size 6, so just a size bigger. One sold in black for $115. So this is another one that I think I'm priced too high. I'm going to bring down the price to $99 and I'm going to relist. I'm going to be competitive. I want to move it. It's been listed for 2 years. We need to find it a new home. Now I might try and put it on a different backdrop, like a different color backdrop, to have contrast and see if that helps. I might just remove the white background and just have it on the mannequin, like retake the photo. I typically don't retake photos because if it's in storage, I'm done with it. And that's just me. But we'll see. I'm definitely going to drop the price and definitely relist it. All right, number 5. This is a tote that I've contemplated pulling multiple times for my own closet because it's a great basic. It's a good brand. The brand is Vince, so it's a brand that does not do particularly well for me, but it is a quality brand that I own a lot of and I occasionally pick up to resell because it's expensive and it's good quality. So this one is like a croc tote, and it's got like a V on one of the edges, but I love a good tote. I use a tote for Bryce's diaper bag because I don't like, yeah, and it's worked out great. I think I got that in a FabFitFun box, and it's like, we both use it all the time when we're out and about. This one is a little bit more structured, more of like a work bag, more of a fancier bag. So I'm not going to use it for a diaper bag. And that's the thing. I don't go anywhere like nice. I don't work in an office anymore. So I don't really have a need for this bag, but it is good quality. But it has been 4 years. 4 years. What am I doing with my life? I originally listed it at $249. It's currently listed at $156. It has 2 likers. Now again, it had more likers. All of these had more likers at one point, but when I relist, it removes the likers and you start from scratch. So it currently has 2 likers. Some reasons I think this one hasn't sold. There's a couple that sold on the RealReal. And the RealReal comps are questionable because some people could have coupons and stuff, but they do have a sold price. And I do think that's helpful at times. But one sold for $87, one sold for $52, and one sold for $69. And it was the exact same tote. I think slightly different colors, but exact same tote. One's listed on Poshmark at $109. One is sold on Poshmark for $105, and one sold on Poshmark for $50. So I'm priced too high again, and that's okay. At one point 4 years ago, I found comps that were higher, and I priced too high probably then, and I'm definitely still priced too high now. So this is another one I'm going to bring down to $99 and relist, hopefully get that bad boy moving. All right, number 6, Fendi cardigan. So this is a Fendi cardigan, size 12. This has been listed for 3 years. Again, if I like worked in an office, I would just keep this and I would wear it because it's a great size. It's a classic style. It's black with like a very subtle trim, I think, on the bottom. It is a zipper front, which is kind of interesting, and I do think this might be vintage, but it's been 3 years since I've listed it and really done a deep dive on looking it up. So, originally I listed it at $199. It's currently listed at $126. Okay, FedEx came, dropped something off. I realized I should go get food for my sister and I. Then Robert came back. Anyways, it's been a whole thing. It's the same day, and I figured I would finish filming this. Okay, so I think I left off at the Fendi cardigan, size 12, listed for 3 years. I originally listed it at $199, currently listed at $126. So there are currently 2 likers. I'm really surprised that this hasn't sold because it's a good size. While I understand the logo is not big and bold, and I feel like Fendi is one of those brands that has an audience that wants big and bold logos as being like a statement piece. I decided to go in to see items that maybe didn't have the bold logos and see if I could find some similar items. What I found, as I said with one of the other items, there could be potential authenticity concerns from a buyer. I mean, it clearly matches the tags of this line, the Maglia line. I found a lot of items with those tags and everything kind of lined up. Again, I do think this might be a vintage piece. So I don't think there's any authenticity concerns, but a buyer might have that. As I said, the logo isn't very flashy, and some people really like that with this designer. And similar item solds, I didn't find this exact item that was sold, were between the 50 and 100 for most of them. Exceptions being cashmere with flashy logos or more current pieces. Those were going for a lot more. So this is, again, just, I think, priced too high. It's been sitting for 3 years. I'm going to drop it to $99 and relist it. See if I can get some action that way. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, there is the word Fendi, but it's kind of hard to see on the trim. So unless someone is like really up close to it, it doesn't look like a designer piece. And even though it's a good size, it's kind of an odd cardigan because it's got the zip. And yeah, so it is what it is. All right, number 7 is this sleeveless, how I titled it, coat. It is a brand that I've never sold before, don't know much about. I was excited to find it because some of the comps are 100 to 200 or more. This has been listed 17 months though, and I started it at $199. It's currently sitting at $125. It has 0 likers. I think it did have a couple likers at some point when it was listed, and you know, I've obviously relisted it multiple times since, but currently it doesn't have any likers. Now, obscure brands can sometimes do really well and fly for me, or they just sit for a really long time because there isn't a huge audience for it. This one is kind of 50-50. There's a lot of solds and there are a lot listed, but it's just not the most common brand. And I think if someone's shopping for a coat, they want sleeves. So I think that one of the main reasons it hasn't sold is because the item itself is unusual and the brand itself is a little less known. So that's number 1. And I almost wonder if I should like list it not under coats, but then I don't know what I would list it under. So most sold comps range from 40 to 250 for coats and somewhat similar items, but I could not find this exact same item listed on eBay or Poshmark. And the range is just pretty vast. So that usually is a sign that it's not a quick seller for a lot of people, but they do have some really unique, quirky pieces. And I feel like people who know this brand might want those. And I feel like this item is kind of unique and quirky. So it, you know, I'm honestly kind of surprised, but again, I've never heard of the brand and never seen it before this point. Listed ranges of items are between $70 and $500. So again, I don't think being listed at $125 is really that terrible for this brand. But again, I'm going to drop the price to $99 and relist it. Even then, that might be too high. Like this might just be one of those items that just doesn't line up with the comps because of the unusual component of style along with a brand that's just not probably the most searched for. So yeah. All right, number 8. This is a brand that when I first started reselling like a year in, I made a video and it was my 10 top favorite brands to find. And this brand was one of them. And I think it's because I live in California. I follow a lot of California-esque people, and a number of them are surfers and live in beachy areas. And I've got a number of friends. Anyways, this brand has always been popped up for me over the years, and it's Stone Cold Fox, and it's trendy. It's got a cult following. And so when I found it a couple times, I was stoked. But this dress, I think along with one other dress that I have of this brand, have just sat forever. In fact, this dress has sat for 4 years. I originally listed it at $169. It's new with tags. It is a size 4, so that could be a factor, but this brand does typically cater to a smaller audience for the most part. It's got 1 liker currently, and I did find a stock photo and a dress name on someone else's listing that I didn't have previously. So that might be added to the listing. I don't use stock photos for the main photo, but I could add it for the second photo and see if that helps. So the reasons I think it hasn't sold: listed under the wrong size. That was surprising. It's only 1 size off. It's technically a size 2 and I have it listed under a size 4. So I need to correct that. The photo itself, the item, it's just one of those items that looks better modeled. Now I can't fit into this. It's a size 2. I don't have any friends that I would have wear it. And I personally just don't use stock photos. Not saying you can't, I just haven't, and it's been consistent, and I'm not going to probably change that anytime soon. But if I can't model it and I'm not going to use a stock photo, it's just an item that kind of hangs awkward. But again, people who know this brand should be able to kind of get the vibe of what it is. And so I'm hoping that maybe if I add that stock photo as the second photo and, you know, maybe people are interested in the brand and also the name of the item, that maybe that will help. There is another listing at the exact same price, but it's a stale listing, and they have like 17 likers, and mine definitely had a lot more likers at one point, but their item is, I mean, they're probably not even responding on Poshmark. They probably just deleted the app and fallen off, which, if you know me, you know that I hate that component of Poshmark, that they just don't remove stale listings. But you know, there is interest in this item, so we'll see. All right, number 9 is a jacket. This is by the brand Universal Standard, and when I first found this brand, I didn't realize their sizing was kind of interesting. Like a size large is actually like, and don't quote me on this, but it's like an 18 to 20 or something. Basically, they have, what is that sizing called? I can't remember. If I can remember, I'll put it on the screen. But basically, the sizing is not the most typical. So this, interestingly enough, was listed under 4XL. It wasn't under their obscure sizing, and on their size charts, I don't think that goes up any higher. So I listed it under 4X. It's a COMMONTAGS jacket. It's been listed 18 months. Originally I had it listed at $124. It has been brought down to $108. Now, when I do price drops, I don't manually go in and do price drops. I do a percentage of a price drop on eBay or Poshmark. And so like in this situation, I wish I would have just noticed that, just like bring it down to 99. $108 and $99 is not that big of a difference. And there might be people searching under 100. So you might be losing that demographic. So that's one thing I think I can change, is just bring it right under 100. Because mine is COMMONTAGS, I did find some solds. One sold COMMONTAGS similar size at $40, so significantly less. There's one that sold at $135, similar size, but as we know with Poshmark sales and the sold price, it could have been a bundle. So I'm not 100% sure if that actually sold for that price, but a lot in this brand in the plus sizes have sold between 75 and 100. So I think I'm priced too high, and I couldn't find any in this exact size and style and COMMONTAGS. So I don't think I have much competition, but I am going to drop the price to 99. Add the stock photo, because I also found one of those too. Or maybe I had one. It was just the second photo, and just relist it. So yeah, I mean, some people love selling plus size. I definitely have found, especially with like brands like Torrid that are pretty affordable, they don't actually do all that much better for me. I actually do a lot better with kind of the mid-size space. Maybe that's just because I pick it up a lot, because that's where I fall. But all right, number 10 is technically 2 dresses, but they're about the same price. They've been listed the same time frame, and they're the same brand. So just clumping them together. The brand is 120% lino. I'm guessing it's lino. And there's 2 dresses. They're both boho. One is kind of an off-white. One is an off-white, and that's what the first one is, sleeveless. And then the second one has sleeves. Both are midi, but the one with sleeves has some very subtle stripes just in a couple places, and really beautiful up close. They are linen, which is why I think the name lino. Anyways, but these have been listed for 3 years. I think I technically found 4 of these dresses, and 2 of them have sold. And these 2, which actually were my 2 favorite, still haven't sold. So one is listed at 108, one is listed at 105, and there's 0 likers on either one. Plenty of items from this brand are listed and sold. One thing I will note on Poshmark, it's not on their brand list. So that's annoying. But I wish they just had like a tab of like ad brands, because there's always going to be new brands that pop up. And if it's not easily searchable in their brand list, then I feel like it's harder to buy and sell. But maybe I'm wrong, because you can still search. So with these 2 items, the number one thing that frustrates me about my listings is they are white on white or off-white on white backgrounds. And it didn't crop right, or like background removal. It didn't look right. It didn't look good. And it also doesn't have that contrast. So I definitely think I was listed too high originally. I think I was originally listed at 149 for both of them. And like I said, brought those down. So they're both size small. There's no stretch or give in any of them. And yeah, the photos, the initial photo, I just don't think it stands out or captures the cuteness of them. Also, it's not the most common brand, so I don't know how many people are shopping for it. So comps for most items from this brand, dresses, are between 20 and 80. So a number have sold over 50. But I'm going to drop the price on both of them to 99. Maybe try and fix the main photos to make it pop a little bit more. And I know, again, if people love editing, you know how to make white items pop, even on white backgrounds. I hate editing photos. It's not a skill. It's not something I want to become a skill, and I just don't have the patience for it. So those are my 10 items. And I will probably do another video maybe at some point when I figure out what my new reselling goals and strategies will be like. Again, I took the last couple months off being a new mom. I wasn't paid maternity leave, so that's been an adjustment as well. You know, I do reselling because I love going thrifting. I have been reselling for a long time, and it's I think a great way that I can do that, but also be able to do real estate, also be able to be a mom to a newborn, and there's some flexibility there. It is hard for me because most good thrift stores are quite of a drive, and I don't know what that looks like with a newborn specifically, but you know, obviously as she gets older, maybe it will be feasible, but it will just look different. It will feel different. It will be different. So I'm trying to wrap my brain around how can I come up with like a new business model for my little part-time reselling business. I can say that I do want to decrease my inventory. I'm around the 500 mark now. At one point I was 1900. So definitely have made a lot of progress there, but I still have some old items that I want to get rid of, just donate or drop the price, and keep the decent items and keep a small inventory, maybe get more in that 250 range, and just have it be more manageable and have it be, you know, just more organized and, you know, not stressful as much as possible. So that's my little update. Baby updates are on my other channel. It is linked down below, Midlife, Momlife. As far as me being a mom, I don't really feature the baby. It's not a baby channel, but I do talk about my experience transitioning as a mom. So if you're curious about that side of my life, feel free to check it out. And that's basically it. I'm excited I sat down and did a video. I'm excited to make some of these changes to these listings and hopefully can sell a few of these soon. And I'm excited to just get back into my little reselling business that I've spent so many years learning and growing and, you know, building. And even though it's scaling back, it still is always improving, which I appreciate. So anyways, on that note, be sure to hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you aren't, and I'll see you soon. I'll be back soon. Definitely will be back soon. Okay, bye.